Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the 14th webinar of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific, focusing on the evaluation of energy programs and policies in Asia Pacific. My name is Nazir. I'm your host for today's webinar and a coordinator with Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific, which is a community of energy and evaluation professionals across the Asia Pacific region. So before jumping to the webinar, I would like to invite you to kindly introduce yourself in the chat, sharing your name, your country, and your organization. And also a small icebreaker question. In one word, what comes to your mind when you think about energy evaluation? So please feel free to share your opinion, the one word, that comes to your mind. And meanwhile, I'll be sharing with you the housekeeping rules for this webinar. So first of all, as I said, this webinar is being recorded, and by participating in this webinar, we assume that you give us your consent for this to happen. Please keep your microphone muted when you are not speaking, but you can switch on your cameras for better engagement. You can use the chat box for questions. The speakers will respond to the question either at the end, we have a dedicated Q&A session, or they will directly respond in the chat. We'll be sharing with you a brief feedback form at the end of the session. Please share your feedback and let us know your opinion about the session and as well as expectations for sessions in the future. This session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel and as well as on our website. We will also be sharing with you the session notes through email and as well as upload it to the resources section of our website. This is a quick agenda for today's session. We will start with welcome remarks from Ed, our steering committee member. Then there will be presentations from our two speakers, Jacqueline Lam and Mr. Bao, followed by a Q&A session, and then we will wrap up the session. Without further ado, let me invite Edward Wine, our steering committee member of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific, for introducing the speakers and setting the context for today's webinar. Ed, over to you.
Okay, I'm going to share my slides. You can see them, I assume.
Yes, we can see them.
Good. Well, thank you very much. This is great. End of the year, December. No more webinars this year. We'll have some next year. But first, in case people don't know who we are, this is, let's see, hold on one sec. Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific is a not-for-profit established in 2018, so we're just finishing our 6th year. And it's modeled after similar organizations in the US, EEAP, and in Europe, which is now called Energy Evaluation Europe. And it's a community of evaluators and non-evaluators at all different levels, at the government level, academia, private sector, nonprofits, and so on. And it supports the evaluation of energy policy and programs. And energy really refers both to energy efficiency and renewable energy. And we are focusing on Asia Pacific, from Pakistan to New Zealand and some 30 countries in between. Our mission is to take a leadership role, since nobody else has really been promoting the evaluation of energy programs. There are other organizations promoting, supporting evaluation in general, but when you focus on energy, we're taking the leadership role. And we hope to expand the practice of and capacity for what we call objective evaluation of both energy efficiency, renewable energy programs, and policies. So we have many different activities. We try to bring people together to participate as part of a network of, as I mentioned earlier, practitioners and stakeholders in this region. and we share our database of resources on international best practices in energy evaluation. And we hold, as you can tell, webinars on different topics throughout the year, and as I said, for next year as well, on different aspects of energy evaluation. And besides that, we have conferences that we've, because of COVID, we had a sort of momentary stall in that, but we're hoping to have a conference next year in Indonesia. The details are being worked out, but we should have some more definite news by the end of this year for sure. And you'll be hearing more about it through our social media. I particularly through LinkedIn, I work on, but there are other areas that will be promoting it as well. And then for more information about the organization, here's the link you can get to, and we'll definitely have more information on the conference and other webinars on this site. So we're organizing the webinars I mentioned and the conference. And after the webinar today, there is a webinar feedback form that we'd love you to fill out after the webinar is over. And this is the page, and I think Nazir will be sending that out as well. So we have two speakers. Jacqueline Lam will start off and talk about mission efficiency, partnerships, and collaboration for energy efficiency. And Bon will be talking about direct power purchase agreements and rooftop solar in Vietnam. And I'm going to stop sharing. And before Jacqueline talks, I do have a few more notes I just wanted to talk about regarding Jacqueline. She's a regional director for Asia at SEforALL, and she's been involved with different organizations and activities over the past 17 years in energy. She has extensive experience in project development, implementation, and stakeholder management, and most recently supporting the energy transition of the aviation sector through biofuel industry development and project development for sustainable aviation fuel production in Southeast Asia. She also has extensive support experience in decarbonation with developing economies. Her education includes a bachelor's degree in political science from the National University of Singapore and a master's degree in development studies from the University of New South Wales. So without further mention from me, I will hand this over to Jacqueline, and you can start sharing your slides. We'll make sure. Jacqueline does have a cold, so hopefully she'll be able to run through the presentation fine. So Jacqueline.
Thank you so much, Ed, and good morning to everybody from Singapore. I apologize in advance for some of the coughing that you'll hear throughout the presentation, but hopefully it doesn't affect the information coming through. So thank you all for joining the webinar today. As Ed mentioned, I'm the Regional Director for Asia for Sustainable Energy for All. And I just want to take a moment to introduce the organization for those who might not have heard of Sustainable Energy for All. We are a program of the United Nations Office for Program Services, and so UNOPS for short. And our focus and mandate is to deliver Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which is clean, affordable, universal access to energy for all. So our name really says it all. When we say we're focusing on sustainable energy for all, we look at different aspects of renewable energy deployment, from ensuring that those who don't have grid access will have off-grid clean energy access. But we also look at, for those that are connected to the grid, how to improve their energy efficiency and to accelerate deployment of clean energy through the grid. So today's topic on mission efficiency is largely focused around the energy efficiency aspect of it. And for energy efficiency, I just want to highlight the importance of evaluation and assessment and energy audits in general, because we firmly believe that you can only manage what you can measure. And therefore, the evaluation process, the audit process is absolutely imperative to developing the baseline and to measuring the progress of either energy intensity reduction for energy efficiency or for measuring emissions reduction through renewable energy deployment. So I'll go into the presentation now. So for energy efficiency, especially in the developing economies, this is the first fuel, as we call it, because it affords significant cost savings compared to just not taking advantage of energy efficiency best practices. And there are a range of solutions and technologies that are currently available, from your simple LED lighting to more sophisticated, for example, switching to a smart meter and smart energy management throughout your facility, for example. So because this is such a low-hanging fruit, we work through a number of global targets that have been set. So in the last COP28, there was a global target that was set that we would both double energy efficiency deployment as well as triple renewable energy deployment. And what a lot of people don't realize is that energy efficiency is also really integral to renewable energy targets being met. First, if we are able to reduce energy intensity, for example, by 3.8 to 4.2%, this then helps to enable the renewable energy deployment targets to be a lot more achievable by having the energy efficiency support and reduce energy consumption. So why energy efficiency is the first fuel is always that the energy that you can access is the energy that you don't waste, or that you can reduce the intensity of. And here I want to highlight the investments that are needed across Asia Pacific for energy efficiency investments. We're looking at close to 50 billion across Southeast Asia as manufacturing and intensive industrial activities ramp up, and 78 billion in India alone, which is still, both combined, don't add up to the amount of energy efficiency that's needed. In China, for example, given its increase in industrial activity as well, and then in Japan and Korea combined, 96 billion. So you can see that that's a significant amount of investment and opportunity that is being generated in the green in the energy efficiency space. So across Asia Pacific, the energy efficiency technology adoption are largely led by Japan and South Korea. And this is also because there are significant government efforts to create conducive environments and frameworks around energy efficiency adoption and technologies. Comparatively, in Southeast Asia, there are slightly more fragmented government policies around energy efficiency adoption. And there have been efforts made, for example, in creating building energy codes, green building energy codes, as well as minimum performance standards for appliances in terms of energy efficiency, incentives for building retrofits, as well as creating better awareness for industrial energy efficiency. And I'll get into this a little bit more. And as I mentioned earlier, the barriers include the fragmentation of policy and the lack of standardization of incentives, for example, and standards around energy efficiency technologies and incentives for adoption. And then last but definitely not least, as I mentioned earlier, the financing needs are in total, we're looking at hundreds of billions of financing needs for energy efficiency. And because of the limited awareness of energy efficiency, it's not always the first port of call for investors to look at in energy initiatives. So today I want to talk a little bit about our global coalition. It's called Mission Efficiency, which really looks at three very specific, and you see the very wide range of partners on mission efficiency, including companies as well as not-for-profits like ourselves, but also bilateral country partners. Now, why do we require such a wide range of partners in energy efficiency? This is so that we can focus on the three pillars to elevate, to support, and invest, most of all, in energy efficiency. In elevating and supporting the energy efficiency priority, we really look at first, where policies can come in to support this initiative and where we can improve awareness through advocacy. And then in terms of support, of course, capacity building and interregional dialogue on best practices. So this is typically all participated across all partners. But it is in the mission efficiency marketplace where we bring in industry partners and look at matching opportunities of sectors that are keen to look at energy efficiency improvements, and ESCOs or energy service companies who have the relevant expertise and the ability to audit and recommend necessary energy efficiency measures through the marketplace activities. So here is a snapshot briefly of the country engagement activities that take place across our partners. But I picked out India, Kenya, Ghana, as well as the G20 work. The G20 is also very much related to the India Energy Efficiency Initiative because they were the main policy champion for this during their G20 host year. So just to go into a little bit more detail on mission efficiency in India, because we now have a team in India focusing on the G20 energy efficiency deliverables that also led to the doubling of energy efficiency deployment target. Excuse me. And working on a voluntary action plan that was, of course, also developed with a set of evaluation and assessment of existing metrics and existing policies to look at where gaps can be addressed to accelerate progress. So the energy efficiency unit that has been set up in India looks at both federal level action as well as state level action, recognizing that a large amount of initiatives can be very much tailored to the state level and can therefore be accelerated when tailored to the state level. So here again, the assessment of what federal level frameworks look like and what state level frameworks look like in order to leverage each of the comparative advantages between the two has been really crucial for us to develop the plans for state level action as well as federal level action. There are a lot of bullet points on this slide that I think the organizers will share the slides later, so I won't go through all of them. We do also have an upcoming program for mission efficiency in Southeast Asia, or ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, focusing on some of the industrial parks that are set up in Southeast Asia, first undertaking an assessment of the current energy intensity of the industrial parks, the current activity, the projected growth in activity and expansion of the industrial park, and then making recommendations for the energy efficiency actions that can be deployed there. And then, of course, also introducing the mission efficiency marketplace to facilitate collaboration. Now I'm in my last two slides here, and I think what I want to highlight in this slide is that everyone has a role to play in energy efficiency and everyone can get involved. Here, there are 6 ways of getting involved in mission efficiency, for example, and I welcome colleagues on the call to look at the website for additional details. It's missionefficiency.org for additional details. So please feel free to look at the website and then look at ways that you can either endorse the mission, submit a mission efficiency pledge, collaborate on programs that are in your respective jurisdictions, or join one of the task force if your organization has the expertise to support some of this work that we do. With that, thank you very much for your attention, and again, apologies for the intermittent coughing, but appreciate all of your participation today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's hard to talk in webinars in general. For some, with a cold is extra hard. So I appreciate your staying committed to the webinar, and very interesting, a lot of very interesting activities you and Mission Efficiency are involved in. We will have questions now. Nazir, I didn't look. Are there questions in the chat that we can quickly go to?
We don't have any at the moment, Ed.
Okay. Well, we can return for those who are on the call. You'll have another opportunity. We've deliberately saved some time at the end for questions to both presenters. So rather than, I mean, I always have questions, but I'll wait till the end as well. So I think we'll just proceed to...
We have a quick question just now from Feroz. So Feroz is asking who is leading this initiative or program in the countries?
Thank you.
Is it government or any other organization? Yeah.
Thank you, Feroz. Appreciate the question. So because the activities are all very much tailored to individual contexts, as I mentioned, so in the India example, we are working with the government because of the existing partnership with government to deploy. There are also examples where it is not at the national level, but rather at for example, an industry level where an ESCO partner or energy service company partner is leading some of the activities, and the Mission Efficiency Coalition supports it. So what's great about mission efficiency is that it has the flexibility to support and carry out activities at different levels, including down to the industry sector level. So I hope that provides information that you need. Thank you.
I'll follow that up with, if somebody's interested in a particular activity within a particular country, in your website, there's a list of people they can contact, right? Is that how it goes? So, and you can do a search saying, I'm interested in saving CO2 in concrete in industry, something like that. They could hopefully narrow it down. Good. Okay. That's very helpful. Good resource. I will then introduce our next speaker, and that's Dang Quoc Bao, Mr. Bao, who's Deputy General Director at the Trung Nam Construction Investment Corporation, or otherwise known as the Trung Nam Group. So it's nice having somebody from the private sector. We were talking about that before the webinar, that EEAP encourages speakers from all, both private and public. So it's nice having somebody with experience. He has over 15 years of experience in both energy and infrastructure. And this group he's involved in, the Trung Nam Group, is a top investor in renewable energy, and he joined them in 2016. And his expertise spans project development, policy advocacy, and sustainable energy strategies, driving Vietnam's energy transition and fostering innovation renewable solutions. He holds an MBA from the University of Hawaii at Manoa and let's see. Yeah, I'll stop here, give him more time. I can stop right now. And we'll hand it over and you can start sharing your slides, Bao.
Yes, thank you for your introduction. Oh, is slide still okay?
Very good.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say thank you, and thank you for your host, and also thank you for Jackie for your presentation. So I'm now from private sector, and so I think that some of you may be familiar with Vietnam, and some of you are not very understand on the Vietnam market. So as a private sector, I want to introduce the history of renewable energy in Vietnam because a lot of is written on Vietnam market, on especially in Southeast Asia market, because renewable energy in Southeast Asia market, it including two important things, wind power and also solar power. And so as you know, because for example, from Indonesia or from Malaysia or from Singapore, they are only solar because they are not wind over there. But from Vietnam to Taiwan, a lot of wind. And Vietnam is a really special case that we are very potential, not only wind but also solar power. And so that is the reason why Vietnam have a lot of opportunity to develop renewable energy for the roadway to energy transition. But on the other hand, because of a lot of potential, so follow that a lot of problem, especially on policymaker. And so I think that because today we're talking about the evaluation um, of the policy, so I think that throughout the history of Vietnam renewable energy market, we can see the audience can see some study, and also have some last view, a new view for develop for your country and also for your organization. um, I came to the present. So first of all, I want to introduce a little that Mr. Edward that introduced about me. So I not mention again, but come back to Trung Nam Group. We are originally we are from a construction company. So we had built three hydropower project before 2016. What I mentioned about 2016 because that's maybe that is the beginning of renewable energy of Vietnam. So from 2016 to 2021, we developed and operated more than 1,600 megawatt on renewable energy, including 800 megawatt in wind power and 800.5 in solar power, and we become the leading company on renewable energy in Vietnam. You can see on the slide on the history of installation capacity in Vietnam from 2010 to 2023. We can see that on solar and also on wind. On the map, we can see it developed from installation begin from 2019. So it dramatically grow from 2019 to 2021. So after that, maybe it is go. Um, it's not developing more. But over the last decades, Vietnam sector has grown very fast, and so as a result, we are ranked the first and on wind, and also the second on ICER. The key factor developed in last few years is solar, wind, and also the hydro project. By 2023, renewable energy account for over 20% of total capacity on energy mix of Vietnam. But on the other hand, the challenge of the renewable energy in Vietnam, the most challenging is the policy inconsistency. And the second one is the grid infrastructure limitation, because from now, from the past and from now until the near future, the grid infrastructure is depend on state-owned company EVN, and it takes a long time to develop a grid. And because Vietnam is a very thin and very long country, so we have the one really big Greek nation, and it heavily depend on the grid infrastructure. And so the last one is financing and investment risk, because all of the energy must be sold to state-owned company AVN. So after that, the distribution to the off-taker. That is the reason why the investment depend on EVN. And so as a result, from last few years on renewable energy, most of investment initiated by local company and also local commercial bank. There are few projects financed by foreign commercial bank, and there are some projects are M&A by the other foreign company, but they often M&A after the project operated. That means they saw that the risk of investment and the risk of development project on Vietnam market is really high, that after project operated COD, they M&A, but they are not invest in the greenfield. And come back to the, sorry, wait a minute, please. Come back to the evolution of Vietnam renewable energy market. We can separate it into four. The first one is before 2016. That is no involvement of renewable energy, heavily rely on coal and gas. So from 2016 to 2021, it grow because the government have the good fixed tariff price and a good condition to develop especially solar power. And so after that, the wind power, because the price of equipment and the price of installation is going down really fast. But after 2021, because of the explosive growth, there are a lot of problems on the grid system, and also the high percentage of renewable energy in energy mix. So from 2022 to 2024, that's mean to now, the growth slow due to policy deadlock. That means the government saw a lot of problems that they don't have the ability to solve the problem, so they decided to block the policy to wait. And so from 2024, that means I hope that from 2025, as policy reform, it means DPPA, that means direct purchase agreement, some of new type of energy, LNG, hydrogen, and also they have the new policy to choose the investor selection, and also the rooftop solar. So I wish that from 2025, the renewable energy market in Vietnam will come back slow. Maybe it's more sustainable. So compared to pre 2026 periods, we can say that because we heavily rely on hydropower, and also the coal is similar to another country all over the world. So I not mention too much about this slide because as a tropical country, we depend on hydropower because we have lots of summer mountain, and also we depend on the coal because we also have the domestic coal, and also gas on that state. And so come back to the most periods that made Vietnam become the first and the top renewable energy in ASEAN. That means from 2026, the government issued the feed-in tariff at a really high price. So after that, a lot of in private sector like us, we come to the market, especially that which company that they have ability on construction, on energy, and also on real estate. Because on solar power, you need a lot of land, so you must have the ability to clear the land and negotiation with local people to have the land to develop. And so from that, from 2026, a lot of companies jump into the market, and energy grow really fast. You can see if I compare the 2 year from 2019 to 2021, you can see that on the blue one on the left side, that the wind power in 2019 is only a 0.5% of total energy mix, but to 2021 they are 11%. Yeah, it's really dramatical increase. And so from 2021, there are 20 gigawatt of renewable energy installation in the energy mix, and the dramatical growth of renewable energy is made the grid cannot uh, cannot grow as fast as renewable energy, and also a lot of because they are really high price. So the EVN facing with the financial problem when they buy renewable energy with a really high price, but according to the policy. But on the other hand, they cannot sell with the high price because the electricity price for the market in Vietnam is controlled by the government, and the government want to a lot of FDI come to Vietnam, so they control and they don't approval for EVN to increase the price. So that made the EVN facing with the financial problem in last few years. They lost around more than $1 billion per year, and they facing with a lot of the financial problem. And this period is really exciting for us, and also I think that is a lot of story that whenever for example Zaki or Edward, if you want to evaluate the Vietnam market, there are a lot of story and a lot of statistics, a lot of information that we can research on the periods of Vietnam. And I think that this the study of Vietnam on this period will be a really big lesson, especially for another developing country like Pakistan or India, or Thailand or another country in Southeast Asia. And so after 2021, the EVN has been Vietnam Electricity Corporation. For example, they control the own of the market on especially on the grid, and also the selling for customer. So they facing with financial problem, and also after the really hot and dramatical development of green and renewable energy, the government they say that a lot of risk. And after the end of the phase one and phase two, they decided to research, re-study in last periods, and also they don't have any uh, policy, and it lead to the stop of the renewable energy in Vietnam. And it's really, yeah, it's really, that's that period is really thoughtful for us and also for another developer, because we investment a lot of human resource, a lot of a lot of money, and also a lot of equipment to R&D to develop, and we hope that the market will grow. But after 2021, the total capacity of investment, you can see that in 2022, from 2023 on the picture, the power source of renewable energy grow only 26 to 27% compared to last periods. They grow maybe it counting by time, but from 2022 to 2023, it's grow only 1%. And I don't have the new number of 2024, but I think that it not change, and maybe on percentage it maybe go down. And so the
But
policy,
Bao,
yes.
you'll need to end shortly. So I think you only have one more slide left anyway after this, right?
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we have that after 2024, and a lot of study from the government, and so they learn from the last period, and so also learn from other country. They can have the new, they also have the new policy, and I wish that the market will grow more sustainable. And so we can see that in Vietnam, we need a lot of energy for develop, because we hope that we can develop about 10%. That means the energy will be grow around more than 15%. And as Jackie mentioned before, we need on from Southeast Asia, we need from 10 to 50 billion US dollar in next 5 years. And also Vietnam is a really big market and grow, and the financing is really big problem to finance for the project. And so this is nearly my last slide. So this is the open that for you and also for other people, that we can evaluation the energy policy on Vietnam Energy about the fit mechanism for development of energy, and also the policy disruption from 2021 2025 is affected on the market, and also the evaluation the effective of COP26 commitment on net zero 2015 on Vietnam. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. That was very informative. V, I have a quick question for you, and then other people who are on the webinar, please ask questions either after I'm over or through the chat function as well. In Vietnam, it sounds like the private sector relies on the public sector, government, in terms of what policies are being set, just like in other countries as well. I guess the question for you, would your company or another private developer go ahead and develop, say, solar rooftops without, with the hope that households would take advantage of that independent of what the government says? Or do you have to rely on these government initiatives to carve your path?
Actually, on the rooftop solar, there are some small rooftop solar for households or for commercial. We can develop dependently. It's on the policy of the government. But on the industrial zone, the rooftop solar that the capacity around more than 500 kilowatt. We must depend on the policy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And do you, the policies from government, is that from a national policy going down, or will there be policies within each of the major cities in Vietnam? So they may encourage something without relying on what's happening from the central government.
Actually, in Vietnam, everything is rely on central government and
Okay.
MOIT, that's mean Ministry of Industrial and Trade.
Okay, good. Nazir, I'm handing it over to you for questions. Do we have, and anybody who's on the call, do you have questions for either of the speakers?
We have a question from Aruna. Aruna, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question directly?
Yeah, thank you very much, and hope I am audible. The concern is we are also conducting some solar projects in Sri Lanka as well, and looking at the energy efficiency and environment concerns. How do we look at overall efficiency related to environment as well? In like most of the solar panels and all this will be outdated in a certain lifespan. So how do we collect? Or is there any mechanism to consider all those, because it becoming alert at the moment in promoting on this ground. So any policy related matters, and we would like to also know how best practices goes on, because there are a lot of countries in South Asia and Southeast Asia trying to promote this solar panel as a more renewable energy. So over.
And that's for Bao. Do you understand?
You're muted, Bo.
Oh, yeah. Bao,
I'm
you're
sorry
muted.
that
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I cannot hear clearly your question. Can you summarize softer?
It's also in the chat, just in case if you want to read the question directly.
Okay, thank you very much.
So the focus is on environmental concerns, Bao.
Yeah.
And how do you collect these solar panels that are no longer producing or less efficient in producing, and recycle or any proper disposal? It's interesting. I'd like to know the answer. I have solar on my roof. It's been probably 6 years, 7 years. So far so good, but I haven't really thought about that. So do you have any solutions for me and others and the government? What do you do with these outdated solar panels?
Actually, the solar panel is it's easy to reuse recycle. It's not very hard to recycle the solar panel, and so the reduce but the reduce of solar panel is just about yet that you use 6 years, so it not reduced so much. So we can use for example, it's more than 4 years. So after that, you send it you send it to recycle and you can buy a new one. Because in the past, the cost of solar panel, it take about 60% of investment, but in these days it just only about more than 30%, around 40% of investment. That means you can the own capital and the own investor, and also you can put down the old solar panel and send it to recycle and you buy a new one, because it's not too expensive. Because if you invest the total, the new rooftop solar investment, you can ROI around, for example, 7 years. But if you only change the panel, it takes around 2.5 years to get ROI. So wherever you want to, you can see that if the quality of product or the percent is go down, you can around. I think that if you are the house, you can change it after 10 years. I think that is okay. But it's also 50 years okay also. It's depend on you want to new one or the old one, because different from 6 years ago, the solar panel is really expensive, but now the solar panel is really cheap and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I understand the price of the solar panels have gone down in price, but the key other part is the labor to take it off and then install a new one, and labor costs are probably going up as well. So it's, for some people, it depends. If there's no help, I don't know what they'll do. Would they stop replacing solar and go back to using, in your case, say hydropower for their main source of electricity? And it'll be interesting. That's where you need an evaluation, right? That'd be perfect to see over time what happens to solar collectors. Okay. There's another question for Jacqueline. And you want to read what you said? How's your voice? I don't want to overdo it for you.
Thank you, Ed. So the question is on challenges on working with different governments in Southeast Asia, and I should highlight that the need to coordinate across different ministries is necessary across any government, not just in Southeast Asia. So in fact, in a recent meeting as well, I was in Islamabad in Pakistan, talking to the Ministry of Energy, and they also urged us, for example, to talk with multiple ministries, including the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Climate Change, because Ministry of Economy, because these are typically the planning ministries and the resource allocation ministries. And so it is really important to have all of these other ministries come on board, especially with regards to energy infrastructure and energy development planning, so that we don't encounter, for example, situations where down the line other ministries might have policies that are counterproductive to energy ministries' subsidies or incentives that help to accelerate the renewable energy deployment, for example. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, this is a really critical and important issue. I've written it in the past. I call it breaking down the silos. So we have different silos, and the equivalent here is different ministries. And so you may have the Ministry of Energy and a Ministry of Environment, a financial ministry. They all have their own priorities. They don't often talk to one another. Occasionally they do. And they have to understand the different languages people are using when they refer to certain things, as well as how do you coordinate and accommodate priorities. And each of the ministries has other priorities. I think particularly this brings another feature that I've been working on, and others as well, either on this call or elsewhere, on sustainable development goals, the SDGs. and they are different subject areas and priorities, and trying to bring them together and seeing how, in our case, energy projects affect not just energy, but could be water, could be gender, could be all sorts of things. And so it really takes time, but what we find in that over time, you establish these relationships and they can work together, but it doesn't happen automatically. So you need to invest time and resources to bring those people together at the beginning. Don't wait till the end. Try to come together early to discuss what their needs are and priorities, and then what yours are, and see how you can work together. So I think anything else? Anybody else on the call have questions? We have maybe time for one more question. Feel free to ask. If not, I think we'll conclude here, and I'll hand it over to Nazir for concluding comments.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Jacqueline and Bo. It was nice to hear to you and learn a lot from this session. I would like to re-share the information that already informed you earlier. So we have a conference coming in 2025 June with the broader theme of building an evidence-based path to net zero energy transition and global sustainable development. It will be in Jakarta. We will be finalizing the date, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and we will share the information through our website and social media channels. Also, you can reach out to us at Asia Pacific at energy-evaluation.org. We are active on Twitter and as well as LinkedIn. Please check out our YouTube channel. We have sessions recording of this previous sessions and as well as recordings from some of the conferences. So also do check the website. We have a lot of resources related to energy evaluation as well as list of resources related to courses, university degrees, that are more related to energy and evaluation. That's all from us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be sharing the recording with you. Wish you a good week ahead.
You too. And thank you all for participating. See you next year.
Yeah, see you.